Howdy folks, welcome back. I've just had a new car arrive today, so I thought I'd have a little bit of a walk around that one, show you what we're going to do there, and I've also got the Vauxhall in the shed at the moment, so I've brought that back in. Hopefully I can get a little bit of work done on that in between waiting on other things. So yeah, we'll go and have a look at that and yeah, check it out. So this is a 1954 Wolseley 440. I just had a quick bit of a look, and there were just a dab under 30,000 of them made. They were built from 53 to 56. I think there were 29,800 and something made. They were a little 1250cc 4-cylinder, independent front suspension. I love the way the steering racks are set up. So I've just got a hole straight through the cross member, straight into the back of the steering rack, and obviously they can do that left-handed or right-hand drive. So the rack's reversible. I would say you can change the ends by the look of it, to flip it from left-hand to right-hand drive. And you can see in the firewall we've got the matching cutouts, so as it can go either way. There's some really nice engineering for 1954. These cars shared a lot with the MG Magnet, which was released later in the same year. I think the MG had a bigger motor. I'm not sure. They had a different engine size. So basically it's in for rust repairs. Down here, it's a little bit difficult to see without the light in it, but we've basically rusted through the front of the seals. This outer seal is bad on both sides. And I say outer seal because in these early sort of monocoque cars, they seem to play around a fair bit with different design, trying to work out exactly what was best, because this one has a seal here behind this. This is a full big box section from what I can tell down in here. This basically is just a cap on the outside, so pretty much there is garnish, and the main structure is this section in here. So as you can see, the bottom of the pillar needs doing. Obviously this B pillar, there's a little bit in the front of the B pillar here just below the semaphore slit in the side, because of course they didn't run indicators, they run these little flip out semaphores. Up here around the window frame we've got rust right through there. There's another damaged piece over here. Head around the back, I'll get down in these bottom corners, jack it up, get the wheels off and all, and have a look. Main thing first is structurally all the seals, the pillars and the floors, and then we'll come back and look at these guards are all through the bottoms. Inside the boot, again it's the same. I don't know if you can make it out on camera, but there's plate pot riveted all the way through this sort of, there's a strip across the back here and another one that runs up the side here, which is a bit easier to see. So that's clearly hiding something, and they are sort of scattered right throughout the floor of the car, those plates. At some point in the 80s or 90s, it's someone's gone through it and put all those plates in it, and this has had a quarter put on it here, pretty crudely. It looks like it's been gas welded, but then just sort of pushed back and filled over. I mean, look, it's structurally fine. It's just could be a bit better cosmetically. Down in here, got rust in there next to the seat. In the corner, again the seals back up in the middle of the B pillar, again below that semaphore. Obviously there's a pocket here that crap ran down into and just sat there, and water would always go in here because of this bit flipping in and out. It's not sealed, so really I guess there should be drainage holes in the bottom of that, because it's always going to fill up with crud. So there probably should have been some sort of way to let moisture out, because yeah, they're never actually sealed. The piece just sits in here and flips in and out, and it would always get water in there. So that's a bit of a design flaw, that one, which is probably why they stopped using those things. Apart from the fact that that's your only indicator popping out the side, it's not very good for the traffic around you to see it. Yeah, so we've got more in the bottom of this pillar, which will need investigating. There's actually some holes up here. If we go around the other side, it's pretty cactus through there. I guess the door bolts on there too. So, and again, this outer one is cactus through here. He's actually pretty bad all the way along. And I'll look at it. I don't know if you can make it out, but it is. It's hard to say if that's just filler or it's actually split. I won't know until I clean it. Down in around the back of the wheel here, I don't know what that is. So, that's all right, come out of there. Yeah, so the client who owns this car has a workshop just up the road from me, so he's keeping all the rest of it up there for now while I work on these bits, and we'll just sort of chip away at it. I pushed it in here next to the Vauxhall because the Vauxhall started off basically as the same size car as this. Now it was so the Vauxhall's 49, this is 54, so there are quite a few differences in the fact that well, the Vauxhall is actually on a 48 chassis, which is why I was able to do what I did to the Vauxhall. You couldn't do the same thing to this car because it's not sitting on a chassis, basically. You know, chassis cars, if you don't know, sort of ended in 1948. 1949 they started to bring in all the monocoque cars where there's no separate chassis. The chassis is integrated into the car, and that changed the way that the cars are engineered, and basically you just can't fiddle with the body as much without doing a lot more engineering, whereas a car like this that has a full chassis under it, basically the chassis is as the chassis was in size and dimensions and everything else, and just the body is manipulated on top of that. So, but it gives you some idea of the size and height difference. I can't sort of get down here. They would have been roughly the same height car. Just looking across the roof there, I mean, it's, yeah, that one's sitting up higher on its suspension, but it's probably 10 inches if we measured the body, thereabouts. But they're basically the same wheelbase. You can see the Vauxhall through there. Come right back on them. It's interesting, the Vauxhall looks much wider because it's down much lower. It might actually be a little bit wider car, but it might not too. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to pick away at the Vauxhall. You can see a piece I've cleaned up here on the boot. Basically, I got the car into the shape I wanted when I first started working on it, and then I had clients and people wanting me to do work for them, so I stuck some fiberglass over all of the seams and hit it with etch, and that was that. And it sat outside for whatever it's been, 3 years nearly. So I brought it in now. I want to clean off a lot of these spots that I just sort of wrapped up and protected, that I never really got time to finish or refine. basically the car is the shape I want it, but lots of the joins and blends and stuff need to be gone back through and sorted out. I'm also trying to work out what to do about the rear end. I had a little moment where I sort of thought maybe I could go independent, and I had a bit of a look around, and there's nothing really that's going to be narrow enough and strong enough without building something. So I'll probably stick with the live rear end. I just have to shorten one slightly. I thought the diff I had was going to work. You can see this wheel is bang on, and we're hanging out about, I don't know if you can see that, about 20 mils on this side. So this diff's very close, but the problem is the pinion on the Centura diffs is off centre, being Chrysler, biased to the left-hand drive, so they had more room for the driver's side. They ran everything slightly off centre. So I've got to do something about shortening it, which might actually save me. If I can basically move the pinion back to the centre and then shorten this other side, that'll give me the right length, and it'll get my pinion back in the centre, and I can use that diff, which is an LSD. So I don't have to worry about this one I dragged out, which I was thinking about cutting up. Okay, so the Ford, the XA, I need to go and get some steel so I can start making all these last pieces, fix up the rear firewall, make this piece, make a new section to go across here, make the floor sections. But what I've been doing this week, oh sorry, put my finger in there, is working on trying to get this quarter and some of the other guards a bit straighter. Basically this quarter is the one that had, I don't know, 12 pieces of steel. It had in it 12 patch panels in the end, so it was pretty bad, and it was pretty badly beaten up, and I put it in the wheel one night, in the English wheel, and rolled it and got it back into basically the right shape. What I didn't realise in the half dark that I was working is because this panel is, what is it, it's over 6 feet long, and it's wide. Working it through the wheel by myself, what happened is it started to droop either side of the wheel and started to leave tracks from the edge of the wheel all up and down the panel. So I thought I was getting it the right shape. I stopped, I looked at it and ran my hand over it, and I could feel these ridges like corrugations. So I thought, oh dear. Anyway, I've done some hours now, extensively, probably about, I don't know, 4 to 6 hours or something of planishing it. And I've got most of it out. It's still got some sort of waves in it, which I need to put a few shrinks in it and try and pull out. But we're sort of getting back to a point where if I can get a couple of more of these waves out of the top, then it's usable and solid. So yeah, I don't know if you remember the other videos, sorry I'm turning on you, but so all the way along, this piece is new, all the way through here, all the way through the bottom section, and then there were 6 patches up through the top, and it just got silly. Anyway, it's just trying to get light on it so you can actually get some sort of idea. But anyway, so yeah, I'll get some steel later in the week, and I'll start back in here and try and get these pieces I can make up while it's sitting here like this. Obviously I've got the Wolseley as well there, so somewhere between the two I'll just pick away. I've got to make up a bunch of templates now for this. I'll work out my my sort of line of attack here, which is probably going to be taking off this section first and just having a look inside. I'll probably make up a template of this section and then remove this section, have a look at what it's like inside, and yeah, start sort of go back as far as I need to get rid of the rust, and then build it back out. I'll spin you back around.